have the new Arttitude Submerged palette, and when they came out with this Arcana palette, I was not able to film a video with it. So I decided what's better than one Arttitude palette? Two, of course. So I'm going to get into eye looks, swatches, give you my first impression thoughts on all of the products. That sounds interesting to you? Just keep watching. If this happens to be your first time on my channel, welcome. My name is Karen Harris. I like to film tan girl friendly makeup reviews here on YouTube. I started my channel 14 years ago, and it was because I couldn't find reviews and swatches from somebody with a similar skin tone to me, and I love indie makeup, so if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, highly recommend subscribing, turning on the bell so you're notified every time I post. And without further blabbering, let's get into it. Okay, so I'm super excited because Arttitude is a small UK-based indie brand, and they had to pause their US shipping, but I think they figured it out, so they're back to shipping in the US, and they're coming out with a new palette, which is the Submerged palette, and I'm just so happy for them. They've had some really awesome launches, and so I'm just happy to see that all of my favorite indie brands that are overseas have figured it out, and we're still getting these beautiful palettes to play with. But let's go ahead and get into close-ups and swatches. I'm actually going to start off with the Arcana collection since this is a older collection. So the Arcana palette is still in stock. This retails for $74. Some highlighters as well as some single eyeshadows. So I'm going to show you guys close-ups and swatches. Let's get into all of it right now. So let's start off with the multichrome shadow singles. These retail for $20. And these are 26mm magnetic multichrome shadows. Each shade is highly pigmented with shifting colors that display multiple hues depending on the angle of the light and movement. These mesmerizing shades transition seamlessly between two or more colors, creating a stunning multi-dimensional effect. So we have Poet's Muse, we have the shade Lover's Locket, Mi Amor, and Wild Rose. We also have Ethereal, Mythical, and Hydra. I don't know which ones they sent me, but I swatched 4 of them that I did receive in PR because I wanted to show them to you guys. I'm not sure if this is a combination of different collections that they have in one listing, but that's the information I have on their site about the multichromes. And then we have multichrome highlighters. Those are also $20. We have the shades Illumination and we have the shade Imagination. So these are super pigmented highlighters for sure. Definitely not for the weak of heart by any means. And they're mostly like both greens and blue types of highlighters. It says our multi-chrome highlighters create the most mesmerizing, intense, multi-dimensional glow. And then we have the Empty Magnetic palette. This is an acrylic palette and it's $20. I really like these acrylic palettes. They look so elevated. It says our empty stackable magnetic palettes are now available with and without lids. Purchasing them without a lid to stack against each other, purchase at least one with a lid to place on top of the stack. That is such a good idea, and they also come in sizes. So there's a 5-pan and a 16-pan option if you would like something a little bit bigger. They also sent me a brush set. So the brush set I don't think goes with this collection, but I just wanted to share. So this is the Ink and Rose Eye Blending Brush Set. Retails for $58. Elevate your eye makeup game with our 10-piece eye makeup blending brush set. This bespoke brush set features beautiful printed handles designed exclusively for the Ink and Roses collection by Arttitude Cosmetics. Whether you're creating a daytime look or a dramatic evening eye, this brush set offers all the tools you need to achieve stunning professional results. So yeah, the brush set is nice. It's definitely not the best brush set I've ever tried, but for 10 brushes at $58, that's not too bad. That's a little bit over $5 a brush. So if you're just wanting to have more brushes, this might be a good option for you. As far as the Arcana Magnetic palette, it's retailing for $74. I feel like they might have had to bump up the price because of the tariffs. It's a fully magnetic 16-pan palette with 4 different formulas. The palette features a balanced mix of mattes, shimmers, metallics, duochromes, and multichrome finishes, allowing you to craft everything from soft ethereal glam to bold draconic drama. Rearrange the shadows however you like or pop out your favorites and add them to our empty acrylic makeup organizer palette. You are now in complete control of your artistry, a must-have in everyone's makeup collection. Whether summoning the ethereal magic of Arcana, embracing the stormy allure of hidden, or channeling the dark power of depths, this palette empowers you to awaken the dragon within. Fiercely pigmented, born of magic, secrets, and fantasy. The greater the mystery, the deeper the truth hidden within the arcane. Designed to work with all skin tones, 16 shadows, 2 grams each, total 32 grams net weight, vegan-friendly formula, and cruelty-free. So that is the information on the website. This palette is made in the PRC, and it does have a 12-month shelf life. I do like to give you guys shade descriptions, so let's go ahead and look at the shades. So the first shade is Magic, which is a pinky matte shadow. Mystery is a white silvery shadow. It doesn't have a base shade to it, so it just looks very ethereal. Soar is a periwinkle shade. Power is a mid-tone purple. Secrets is a duochrome. It's like a purpley pinky shifting shadow. Sacred is a muted taupe. Treasure is another shadow that's more of a golden shade. It doesn't have a base to it as well from what I can see. Dragon is a teal color. Truth is another taupey brown. Arcana is a marble shadow, but when it swatches, the shade I see is like a baby blue with a major like golden shift to it. Folklore is a muted green color, more of a cool tone. Sorcery is a duochrome that shifts from purple to blue. And then Legends is another really light gray tone. Hidden is a cool tone purpley brown shade. Scales is a really bright green shadow, like a metallic shadow. And then Depths is a dark green teal color. So those are all the shadows in the Arcana palette. And now we're going to switch gears and talk about the Submerged palette. I will say, even though the themes of these are very different, I think these two palettes pair so well together, and I could definitely see somebody that is super creative and really likes to customize things, kind of like combining these palettes together. They really, really look like they belong together. I don't know if the owner of Arttitude will not get upset with me, but think that it's weird that I'm making that leap, but I think they just look like they are sisters. Sisters, cousins, you know, they have similar vibes even though they're different themes. And you know me, I can never get enough of blue-purple palettes. The new one, Submerged, kind of reminds me of Lure by Blend Bunny. So that's something that it kind of reminds me of as well. And I just love shades like this. So I'm really, really excited to dive into this. According to the information I have on the website, this is launching on the 23rd of October. So in a couple of days, and I do have a discount code with Arttitude. It's KH Makeup if you would like to save some money on this palette. At nightfall, beneath cursed murky waters, where moonlight falters, the sirens sing their haunting song. They lure lost souls into the deep abyss. Here in a realm of forgotten shipwrecks and coves, the Submerged palette is born. Each shade is here to seduce from the deep. Moonlight breaks the surface with shimmery glow, while abyss, murky and unforgiving, pull you into shadowed waters. Feel the chill of cold and lose yourself in the hypnotic shimmer of mirage and echoes, while deep and cove cradle the darkness below. With every shift and flicker, duochromes and multichromes moved like liquid light, elusive, dangerous, and irresistible. This is more than color. This is the siren's call. Once you're submerged, there's no turning back. Some voices aren't meant to be ignored. So that is a really cute write-up. And we have on here that it is a 12-month shelf life, also made in the PRC, and all the ingredients are listed on the back of the palette as well as on the cover. I will say I do prefer the packaging of the Arcana palette just because I really like that holographic vibe on top of the image, but this is definitely Sea Witch vibe, so I totally get that as well. Now let me tell you the shades, and I'll give you guys my description in case it helps somebody out. I really like to give you guys descriptions of the shades. So the first one is Abyss, which is a mid-tone gray shade. Cursed is a multichrome. It shifts from green to purple and pink, I guess. I think it's a multichrome. I'm pretty sure it's definitely at least a duochrome. Murky is a dark green. Nightfall is a blue-purple duochrome. Moonlight is a shade that shifts from like a white to blue. Cold is a bone-colored matte. Mirage is a blue gold shifty shade. Shipwreck is a blue kind of cool tone shade. Almost looks gray, but it has a lot of blue in it. Lure is a mid-tone purpley magenta color. Submerge is a multichrome. It shifts from purple to green to like a teal. Deep is a darker purple. Echoes is a shifty shade. It shifts from like pink to silver. Unforgiven is a navy shade. Siren is a teal and green. Seduce is a pinky purple shifty shadow. And then Cove is a mid-tone pink. So those are the shades in the Submerged palette. And now we're going to get into the 2 looks with each of these palettes. So I'm going to start off with Arcana and then I will get into Submerged. I will put timestamps of everything down below just so you guys can hop around. If you want to skip to a different part of this video, you totally can. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into the looks. Feels a little wild to be playing with this considering this palette came out a few months ago, but I've been waiting, and since they're coming out with another palette, I figured I might as well film 2 looks with 2 different Arttitude palettes. So let's get into the look with the Arcana. I have to play with these teals. They're too pretty not to. So let's start off there. So I think I'm going to start off with something like this, a little blender, and this is number 6. And I'm going to go into the shade called Soar, and we'll start with that. And I think that's going to be like a crease color. So for my lid shade, I'm going to go in with Scales. I'm grabbing the flat brush and we'll see how that picks up on here. Ooh, it picked up really nicely. So I'm going to give it a little spray. Oh my goodness, that is so pretty. Okay, so far I am really loving the shimmer shade. I love to add some depth, so I'm going to line the waterline quick so we can start adding the deeper shades in the outer corner. Okay, so I'm going to take my little pencil brush from here, and I'm going to go into the shade called Mystery, and I'm going to use this as my inner corner shade. So it's like an iridescent color. Give it a little spray, and I'm just going to pop that on. This collection has a lot of fun shifty colors, so got lots of options. Okay, so I'm going to take my little pencil brush and I'm going to go into this shade called Soar again, and I'm just going to run that kind of on the lower lash line here. I did use a really vibrant minty shade in the waterline, and so I'm taking this Sigma pencil brush and I'm just lightly lining right below that because I don't want to cover up the mint with this kind of purpley color since it kind of matches the shimmer on my eyelid. I'm slowly bringing that up to the outer edge here, making sure it's nice and opaque there. And now I'm going to go into the shade called Dragon, and I'm going to slowly run that from the outer corner into the lower lash line. I want to bring a little bit of it into the outer corner. I'm going to go back into that blending brush and just kind of smoothen it out a little bit. And then next I want to go into the shade called Depths, which is a really dark teal green. And I'm going to just kind of go over top of where I put Dragon. Okay, and I'm going to take a little bit of the shade called Hidden, and I want to throw some of that in the outer corner as well, just because I wish there's a little bit more depth in these colors. A smaller brush, maybe like this one from this set, and go into Hidden, and I can just kind of build it up on the outer edge. Okay, so I think that's going to be the look today. I feel like just based off of the swatches, I'm going to like the Submerged palette shades a little bit better because that palette has deeper mattes in it that I'm excited to play with. This one's definitely a little bit more on the lighter side, and then there's some shades that are deeper, but I feel like I could have used like a black in this palette, would have been helpful to me. But I'm going to go ahead and throw on a blush so we can try out one of the highlighters in this collection really quick. Okay, I don't really need to show you applying this, but I figured I'm gonna add this to my Sephora recommendations for the fall sale. so I might as well mention it in this video since you guys can see me applying this. It's from Ilia. It's one of their newer blushes that they came out with, and they've got quite a few shades. I just bought this one shade, and it's such a beautiful texture. This is the shade Wonder, and I bought this like more mauve-y blush, even though I'm always drawn to like the hot orange, like peachy colored blushes. I picked this one because I thought for a change I should get like a more mauve blush, and I love this blush so much. I only have one, but I wanted to mention it in case you don't end up checking out my Sephora recommendations video. Maybe you see this one and you want to grab it during the sale. Great time to score 20% off, of course. Okay, so the Arcana collection had two highlighters. We've got the shade Imagination and we have Illumination. I think I want to use Imagination today. I feel like it's so hard to tell which one's which in the pan, but I think, is this the green one? No, this is the blue one, I think. They just look so blue and green. Maybe this was the wrong one. I don't know. They look so shimmery and colorful, and I really don't know that this is my style as far as a highlight goes, but I figured I'm not really going anywhere after this, so I'll just go all in. They're very sparkly. They're not like chunky by any means. I think I used the wrong one. I think I meant to use the more blue one. This is looking very green in person, but I feel like on camera it looks blue. I don't know, but that is one of the highlighters in the collection, and when I film with Submerged, I'll just use the other one. So I did use Imagination today, so tomorrow I will use Illumination. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys the highlighter. So I'm going to finish up this look, put on some mascara, find some cool earrings and all the things, and I'll be right back to show you the finished look. Okay friends, so here is the finished look, and I want to tell you what else is on my face today. So I have on the Natasha Denona foundation, Tower 28 concealer, and for my lip product I pulled out one of these Bella Beauty bar lip balms. This is the shade Decay, and I thought it was a fun shade to pair with this look. And then for my bronzer today, I'm wearing the Fox palette with the Chanel Cream bronzer. So that is everything else that I used on my face to create this look. Now let's go ahead and get into a second look with the new Submerged palette. Okay guys, it's time to play with the Submerged palette, and I'm so excited. These palettes are quite similar, but in a way I'm just so happy because I love these color stories, so it's not the end of the world for me. So I think I'm going to try to do a halo eye. It's been a hot second, but I'm going to start off with the shade Siren, and I'm going to put this on the outer corner and the inner corner, and I really meant to kind of look up how to do a halo eye. I've kind of forgotten how to do them, I'm not going to lie, just because it's like a skill, you know. Once you lose practice, you need to like retrain on how to do it, but I'm pretty sure you don't like join these two shades together because of how deep set my eyes are. I feel like that's the best way to do it, and then you just put the shimmer shade down, hopefully. This is a very, very pigmented teal color, so you know, there's that. And then I think I'm going to use the shade Submerge. I can't help it. It's definitely a really stunning multichrome shadow, and I remember seeing shades like this when Cliona first came out with multichromes. It's like that black multichrome with the really shifty blue, purple, teal colors. So I'm gonna give it a spray and just gonna pack that on the empty space here. I feel like I effed this up somehow. I can't remember. I can't remember how to do this. I feel like I'm not supposed to join them, but I also can't remember. I feel like I can't put the shimmer shade all the way up, so I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm gonna just keep adding Siren, I guess. I guess I'm just kind of doing my own thing. But that does not look right. That does not look right. I'm going to take the shade called Deep, and I'm just going to try and run it on the outer portion of my lid and crease. And put a little bit on this part as well. Pigmented shade. And then I'm going to line the waterline quickly so I can kind of mesh everything together and see how I'm going to salvage this look. Okay, so I slapped on the brightest blue eyeliner I have just to kind of brighten things up and lighten it up. This is getting a little dark out here in these streets. I'm going to grab this little pencil brush and I'm going to go into this teal shade again. And we're just going to lightly run that on the lower lash line. The shade is so pigmented. I don't want it to overtake the eyeliner. Okay, now I'm going to go into Unforgiving with this little brush. And I'm just going to use that to kind of deepen up the outer half of this eye look. These mattes are so pigmented. You don't want to mess around with these. You definitely want to be a little intentional about where you put them. Okay, I think I genuinely F this up. I'm just gonna try and put a little bit of the... Do you guys think I should just abandon the idea of a halo eye? It's not looking very halo at this moment in time. Okay, halo eye has been abandoned. And I think for a little bit of lightness and a little bit of brightness, I'm going to take this little brush and I'm going to go into the shade Moonlight. And we're going to add that on the inner corner just to get some brightness. Okay, this eye look is looking wild. It's so intense. These mattes and shimmers are not for the faint of heart. You definitely want to make sure you know where you want things to go. Okay, so we have to try out the highlighter. So I'm going to reach for this little PR package I got from Polite Society. And they sent me this cute little set of one of their blushes and lip balms. And I've always wanted to try these blushes. So I'm so happy that I'm getting a chance to do that today. And then I'll apply the highlighter on top, of course. So this is a holiday set from them. How cute! And it's called their Cinnamon Chalet Blush and Balm Duo. So these are the Polite Society little blushes. The Pops Powder Blush Stick. And I'm so curious. So this is a good color. It does have some depth to it. And I'm just going to use this brush that I love to use for all of my cream blush sticks. And it's just so good at really like diffusing a blush and not making it look too over the top. That is a pretty color. I feel like it would work on a lot of skin tones. Probably not a dark skin tone or a deep skin tone, but on my medium complexion, medium tan, I feel like this is showing up okay. Okay, that's kind of cute. I'm excited. Okay, and then I'm gonna apply the highlighter. Should I try the lip balm as well? This is so tiny. Oh, this is a pretty color. Okay. It has a little gingerbread flavor to it. It's a great everyday kind of shade. And it looks nice and glossy. I just threw that on over a liquid lipstick I had on. But let's go ahead and try out the highlighters. I know I used one of the shades in the first look, so I think I need this one today. I think I'm using Imagination today because I did use Illumination in my first look. And oh my gosh, these are so pigmented. Why am I spraying it? Because I don't want it to get everywhere. Did I just use the same shade twice? I really forgot. But these are so like shifty, I can't even tell. Because every time I go like this, I just see the green shift and I don't know. I'm not going to put this all over my face, so I'm just going to put a little bit right there. And it looks crazy, okay? That's just my opinion. It's a little much for me. You know what? I don't mind trying something new. Actually, that's just going to bother me. I'm gonna have to tone that down a little. Okay, I'm gonna finish up the makeup and I'll be right back to give you guys my first impressions on both of these palettes and the collection. Okay guys, I think I managed to save the look. What do you think? Definitely let me know which one is your favorite. I'm always curious. Vote for the first look or the second look down below. Just leave me a comment and yeah, you get a prize. By prize, I mean you get a hug. By hug, I mean I'll like your comment. Anyways, let me tell you really quick what else is on my face today. I think I might have repeated a few things, but that's okay. So for foundation and concealer, Makeup by Mario Foundation Tower 28 Concealer. And then for my lip product today, I started with the What's Up Beauty Caramel Veil Lipstick. And for bronzer, I'm wearing the Chanel bronzer and the bronzer in the Fox palette from Hourglass. So those are some of the other items on my face today. Now let's go ahead and talk about the palettes, what my thoughts are, all of the things. Let's just break it all down. So I'll start off with these single shadows. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really do anything with them other than swatch them. I really have such a large like special shadow collection that I get a little bit overwhelmed by single shadows, I'm not gonna lie. I do like that they sit in this beautiful acrylic container and they're very shifty. I did show you guys swatches and they feel nice and pigmented as well. So if you're already placing an order, maybe this is something you might be interested in. I personally, it could go either way. I could live with them or without them. I'm not that into customizing my eyeshadow palettes or anything like that. So it's just part of the job, I guess. I don't really monkey around with my palettes too much. I just kind of keep them as they are. As far as the highlighters go, they are very blinding. They're very shifty. They're very multi-chromey. So if you like colorful highlighters, and you really have nothing else, you might want to pick these up. I just feel like at this point I have so many colorful highlighters, so for me they are not like my favorite thing. I really prefer more neutrally shades like golds and yellow golds and champagnes and stuff like that. I also prefer just like a more glow from within kind of vibe. So these aren't for me, but they're definitely not bad highlighters by any means. And then the last thing they send me before the eyeshadow palettes are these synthetic brushes. I think these are nice. I definitely prefer something that feels a little bit more like a natural hair brush. I know most brushes these days are synthetic, but these ones feel a little bit more like the older type of brushes that we got from brands like Morphe and stuff. So they feel a little bit more smooth than I would like to say, but they also do work. Like if you have these, you can obviously do an eye look. I did both of these eye looks with this brush set, so it's not impossible. It's just not like my favorite brushes by any means. I do love the pattern on these as well. I like that you get 10 of them. I feel like the price is pretty good for the amount of brushes you get. Now you guys know me, I'm a sucker for eyeshadow palettes. I could talk about them, play with them, look at them, stare at them, swatch them all day long if somebody would just watch my kids for me. But anyways, let's start off with the Arcana palette. So this one, I said I do like the packaging a little bit better just because I like that shine on here. I think it's like a holographic effect that they wrap the palette in. So we have a mirror in here and it says the greater the mystery, the deeper the truth, hidden within the Arcana. Arcane. I'm sorry if I've been mispronouncing that this whole time. So I just feel like these two palettes go together. I can't stop just like thinking that they would combine really well together. Obviously not the reality we live in because they are separate collections, and the only reason I'm making two looks with this video is because I happen to have this collection sitting about waiting to be filmed with, so they were by no means meant to be launched together or anything like that. But I think you could either decide which one you want to get, or you could be more is more and just get both and like use these in combination. I think that if you are trying to be a little careful about your spending, you can definitely shop your stash for these palettes. If you have a large collection like I do, you probably have something that you can kind of dupe the vibes with this palette. But overall, I've really been enjoying what Arttitude has been coming out with over the past couple of years. These newer formats, they've had some really interesting color stories. And I will say of the two, I do prefer the Submerged palette because this has the deeper mattes in it. And I just feel like it's a little bit more grungy, a little bit more intense, which is really fun for me. But I also think these more intense mattes would pair really well with some of the lighter shimmers in this palette. So You can do a lot with both of these together. I really like them both, and I feel like they both have great quality. The mattes in the Submerged palette were very, very pigmented, but I think there's also not many deep mattes in the Arcana palette, so they're hard to compare, and I don't mean to compare them. It just happens to be that they're in this video, but Submerged is a new one. It's coming out soon, and I really want to make this video more about this palette. I think the shimmer shades in this palette are beautiful. You can do lots of fun looks with this. You can definitely do a more purpley look, a green look, lots of monochromatic options here. I would also love to do a purple blue look. That's always fun, or something a little bit more kind of toned down. This look is very, very deep and dark and murky and very reminiscent of Sirens in my opinion. So yeah, I just try to have fun with it. I really love Arttitude and I had a lot of fun playing with them. So I will put any extra information I can find on this launch in a pinned comment down below just to make it easier for you guys to find the info. I do have a discount code with Arttitude Cosmetics. It's KH Makeup if you want to save a little bit on the website. And I always appreciate anytime anybody uses one of my codes because it does really help me out. You can also just watch this video all the way to the end. It's a free way to support the channel. And that is everything, you guys. If you have any extra time, check out some of my other videos and I will see you in another video very, very soon. I think I'll have my September haul video hopefully edited by the end of this week. I always dread editing because it's so much of listening to yourself talk and that can get a little exhausting sometimes, but anyway, I'm gonna get it done. I will see you soon. Bye, friends.